At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Lowe's knows tough jobs call for tougher tools. The new DeWalt Elite Series power tool accessories are built to last for the pro who doesn't stop. With precision fitment, durability, and impact resistance, finishing jobs faster has never been easier. Shop the new DeWalt Elite Series at an everyday low price exclusively at Lowe's. We help, you save.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ryan Clark, the Oregon State Beavers beat writer for the Oregonian and Oregon Live, and you're listening to Beavers Beat. It's game week in Corvallis. We heard from Oregon State football coach Trent Bray on Monday as the Beavers prepare to open their season with a matchup against Cal. Bray said the team is looking forward to having a challenge right out of the gate, as OSU is favored by just 3 points in what is a crucial game to begin the 2025 schedule.
Yeah, just our team's extremely excited to get playing. The quality of opponent that we're playing to start the season, very excited about. A lot of new faces on both sides for Cal and for us. Some people we're familiar with, though, that we played against in the past. But we're excited to get rolling and excited to have a first game with this much on the line.
One of the main challenges of facing this Cal team is its defense, ranked number 36 in total defense last season and number 20 in third down conversion percentage allowed at .333. They also had the number 14 rated rush defense in the country, which could be a challenge for a run-first Oregon State team led by Anthony Hankerson. The personnel is different for both teams this year, but especially for Cal, including Liberty transfer edge rusher TJ Bush Jr. and Florida International transfer defensive back Hezekiah Massis. But the identity of the program under ninth-year head coach Justin Wilcox hasn't changed, according to Coach Bray.
Yeah, I think just Cal, since he's been there, has been they've been very good on defense. That's always been a consistent thing with Cal. And then, over the last couple of years, they've tried to create, and they've had some good quarterback play. And they got a young kid starting for him right now, but he's a very talented player. We know through recruiting. And so I think those kind of staples of what his teams are will be what we see on Saturday.
The headliner for Oregon State is new quarterback Malik Murphy. The redshirt junior Duke transfer brings tremendous arm talent and one full season of experience as a starter for a Blue Devils team that went 9-3 last season. Before that, he was at Texas for 2 seasons with a couple of starts, originally a 5-star composite recruit out of Inglewood, California. In fall camp, Murphy has been working on timing, limiting his turnovers, and building chemistry with his new teammates. That included, over the summer, throwing sessions every day with his receivers at one point, which coaches, including offensive coordinator Ryan Gunderson, had to encourage Murphy and his receivers to slow down a bit on, so there wasn't as much wear and tear on their bodies. That's typically a good problem to have, according to coaches, if your quarterback is working too hard to build a rapport with his guys. Bray said that overall he's pleased with Murphy's development in camp and his current grasp of the playbook.
Yeah, Malik's done a great job. I feel great about where he's at. He's grown just from spring to fall camp to where he's at right now, and his understanding of not only the offense and how to get the formations and motions and redirect protections, but also the reads and where based on what Coach Gunderson calls, right, here's where it should go, then there's your next one, then there's your next one. And so he's just grown tremendously in that area and feel great about where he's at right now.
One area Bray avoided touching on was injuries, of which there are a few along the offensive line. But the biggest one for OSU is in the wide receiver room, and we found out later on Monday that senior wide receiver Darrius Clemons will be out for the entire 2025 season. Clemons said he tore the Achilles tendon in his left leg and underwent successful surgery earlier this month. We in the media saw the injury happen during fall camp, not knowing what it was, of course, at the time. But the worry was that it could be serious, and it ended up being so. Clemons went down in a non-contact situation holding his left leg and was carted off by trainers at the time. His teammates lent their support, surrounded him, gathered around him, and encouraged him, and that included Maalik Murphy. Walking around in a boot and mostly on a scooter, Clemons has since shown up to practice in good spirits and has been really supportive of the guys as they prepare for this opening game against Cal. Clemons is still going to play an important role for this team on the sideline, obviously being one of the veteran receivers, coaching up the young guys who are going to have to step up in his place, guys like Eddie Freoff, Malachi Durant, and others. Speaking of the OSU depth chart, the Beavers released their first official one on Monday. We had only a few minutes to pour over it before Trent Bray stepped up to the podium, but there are some interesting aspects worth taking a closer look at. Obviously, you have Maalik Murphy in there at quarterback, backed up by Jabari Johnson, somebody who coaches think is definitely going to see the field at different points this season and is too athletic to keep off the field despite the quality of Murphy, and Murphy being the official number one starter, no doubt there. Anthony Hankerson leads the running back room, but the Beavers did list 5 running backs behind him, which is a rare thing, especially for a public depth chart, and something that seems to indicate a lot of depth at the position, which coaches have talked about a lot throughout this fall. Saladin Allah, Cornell Hatcher Jr., Jake Reichel, Louisiana Tech transfer Marquise Crosby, and freshman Corday Glass were all listed behind Hankerson. And with Clemons sideline, Trent Walker is leading a wide receiver group that includes fellow starters David Wells Jr. and Taz Reddix. But a big name to keep an eye on is redshirt freshman Eddie Freoff, who fills a major need for the Beavers as a big physical receiver who can at least partially fill the void of not having Darrius Clemons out there. Freoff was undoubtedly the standout player of fall camp for OSU, and it seemed like he caught everything that came his way. Coaches were thoroughly impressed with the redshirt freshman from Prineville, Oregon. Bryce Caulfield might be listed above Riley Williams at tight end on the depth chart, but don't be fooled. Both of those guys are going to play heavy snaps for the Beavers this season, and often together. And they bring something different. Look, both of them are talented tight ends, but Williams is a big, strong guy, 6'5", about 270. And Caulfield is more of a receiving tight end, but certainly someone with an ability to block in the run game as well. So that duo will be one to watch at the tight end spot. And especially so now that Clemons is sidelined and Murphy has one less wide receiver to be able to count on. On the offensive line, the Beavers will start out with, from left to right, Jacob Strand, Ryan Berger, Van Wells, Nathan Elu, and Tyler Morano. They're still missing redshirt senior Tyler Volton, a former walk-on who is among the vocal leaders in that O-line room, along with Arizona transfer JT Hand, who is not listed on the depth chart. Both of those guys play primarily on the interior, and once they do come back, they could bump out Berger or Elu, but it all depends on how those guys play and how they mesh with the rest of the dudes on the front line. The OSU defense is retooled and reloaded, especially in the trenches. You've got Tevita Pomeye and Thomas Collins at the defensive tackle spots, and Nebraska transfer Kai Wallen will join team captain Nico Taylor on the edge. That room in particular, with some added depth and some transfers and development, is hoping for a big improvement this year. And a lot of coaches are talking about that group as one to make a huge stride in 2025. With Micaiah Tongue now medically retired at the inside linebacker spot after his 4th major injury in 5 years, the inside linebacker group will be led by USC transfer Rajon Davis and true sophomore Dexter Foster, who is back at OSU after what was a really strong freshman season. But one immediate surprise on the Beavers defense was how its secondary is structured. While we had seen Tyrese Ivey at nickel a lot during camp, he's listed as starting at safety alongside the best player on OSU's defense, Skylar Thomas. That pushes Jaheim Patterson out of the lineup, at least on the depth chart, although I expect he will see the field plenty as Bray rotates different players in and moves them around to different positions. The current nickel on the OSU depth chart is Sai Rajawale, someone who can also play at other spots in the secondary and provide plenty of versatility for the Beavers as someone who can play in nickel, who can and be a more traditional cornerback. And the depth and the versatility is something that this OSU team feels like it has at corner. Leading the way for the cornerbacks is sophomore Exodus Ayers, junior Jaleel Tucker, and true freshman Trey Glasper. Like Ayers did last year as a true freshman, Glasper could contribute right away and emerge as one of OSU's top defensive backs by the end of the year, especially if injuries create more opportunity for the young guy. For a closer look at the OSU depth chart and plenty of other game week content, visit OregonLive.com/Beavers. We've got feature stories in the works, including a profile this week on tight end Riley Williams that you're not going to want to miss. You can follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Ryan T. Clark, and be sure to submit your questions for our weekly Oregon State mailbag, either on my social media accounts or via email at rclark@oregonian.com. That's Clark with an E, the only true way to spell that last name. We'll be posting that mailbag this Friday and every Friday throughout the season. Thanks for joining us.